Hey, this is Emily at Inflatable Kayaks, and we're looking at the AdvancedFrame Elite kayak here, the most versatile portable kayak on the market. Big claim, I know, but I've got a lot of evidence that we're going to go through to back it up in this video. So, why this kayak is probably the first question, and the reason is you can put a spray skirt on, and it does open ocean, cold climates. It's a full touring kayak. It does multi-day expeditions, but it's also sets up in 5 minutes and 42 seconds. It's a quick setup, an easy setup. And it's really stable. Kids, dogs, fishing, beginners. And it only weighs 13.5 kilograms. So just this amazing combination of features means that if you don't know what you want to do or you don't know where you're traveling to, you can get it because it's great for an hour for a beginner, and it's also great for a 4-day trip for an experienced paddler. Now, I'm going to say straight up, if you know that you are never going to need to put on a spray skirt, I'm going to direct you to the AdvancedFrame Sport Elite. It's very, very similar kayak, but you're going to save some weight. We always want you in the lightest kayak that's going to meet your needs. Do not underestimate how important it is to get something light, right? So 13.5 to me is really light. Like, that's easy to lift. That's awesome. But the Sport Elite's 12 kilograms, so we can actually do better if you're never going to put the spray skirt on. Now, it comes in a bag with backpack straps that clip on and off, so really easy for transporting. Key limitation of this kayak. So I'm going to stop you straight up if this is not for you. The inner tube comes around about where this zipper ends here. So there is a limited amount of space for your legs. We found around about 6'2" is where this kayak maxes out. I'll show you the picture here. Hold on. So if you can get the seat right back to here in the cockpit, from here up to here, around 6'2". Now I say around because if you were 6'1", but you had really long legs, you're probably not going to fit so well. And if you were 6'2" and had short legs, you might fit easily. So it's kind of, you got to think about your leg length. And then the other thing is rigidity. Now this has a drop stitch floor in it. As you can see here, drop stitch is where they stitch top to bottom all the way through, and you inflate it to high pressure. It makes the kayak very rigid. The capacity is 136 kilograms, but we recommend a paddler no heavier than 110 kilograms. If you are tall and or heavy, don't worry. We've got a kayak for you. Go check out the AdvancedFrame Expedition Elite. It's the same kayak basically, but it's longer, so it has more capacity and more leg room, but it's heavier. So like I said, we always want to keep you in the lightest one. If you don't need the Expedition, the AdvancedFrame is a great option. Now, this drop stitch floor, the rigidity, the reason the rigidity is really important is you don't want your kayak bananaing, right? As soon as your kayak bananas, you lose the benefit of the AdvancedFrame system. So the AdvancedFrame system is where there is an aluminium rib frame in the bow and in the stern. You don't see it, you don't touch it, you don't install them, I should say, because there's one in each end. But what they do is they create this beautiful hull that goes down sort of into the water. You can see it peeling the water away here. And it minimizes the waggle with, shorter, wider kayaks. When you take a stroke, they turn each time. It's infuriating. So you have minimal waggle here. And most importantly, you can cut through the chop, but also stay tracking in wind. So wind affects every kayak. It affects every vessel on the water. But there's a difference between being slowed down and being turned, which drives me crazy, which means you're always on that one side trying to correct. That doesn't happen so much with this kayak. It's fantastic on the water. The other thing that makes it the Elite, so the AdvancedFrame is the bow and stern system. Elite means drop stitch floor and awesome seat. So you've got an inflatable cushion for your lumbar here, and you've got the raised bum pad. So I love this bum pad because it allows you to sit at exactly the perfect height. Like, you can imagine there is such a thing as too low where you're paddling like this, and then there's such a thing as too high where you're having to lean right over to reach. Sweet spot, right? This is the sweet spot. So you can actually engage, you can kind of sit up, tilt forwards, engage your whole body, including your feet, if you buy the foot brace, in the paddling motion and generate a huge amount of power and speed and efficiency of stroke in this kayak. But you can also sit back and relax if you want to, right? I just like the idea of I do both, right? I have lots of cruisy kind of casual paddles, but I like the idea that if I'm against wind and tide, I can engage my whole body and I can really rock it through the water. Now, this footage was taken on a very windy day, and you can see how I am holding my line in the water without being on one side, kind of correcting, because you can see the wind is coming across this way. My bow is not turning, and I've got good speed and good tracking in the water. The performance is really, really impressive. I had to throw this review in because you said, Emily, everything you have said in your video is true. So watch this video. But he says here, when you rating up your cruise mode, when you up your rating from cruise mode, sorry, you can really build up some speed. And it's quite true. Versatility wise though, I love that this is also a casual kayak. Like I said, it's very stable. You can actually unzip the whole deck and in you go with kids, dogs, fishing, all of that kind of stuff. I think I've got a picture of the fishing rod here. So this is our adhesive mount. You can clip in rods, and then that will actually unclip if you're not fishing today. But you can do pretty well anything from this kayak. The other thing that people love about this zipper is the getting in and out. So we get a lot of people that are either quite tall or they're just inflexible at that stage of their life. And the idea of being able to put on a spray skirt is great, but the thought of having to tuck legs in and out of a cockpit is not great. So you can literally unclip, unzip, plonk yourself in, and then do yourself up. It's just awesome. Like I said, the most versatile portable kayak on the market. Setup is very straightforward. You do have to change your adapter. So chambers 1 and 2 use a different adapter to chamber 3. But essentially 5 minutes and 41 seconds, pump it up, clip in your seat. No fiddling around with the fin. The fin is part of the hull. You don't need to take it up. Pack down is really, really easy, but you'll need to allow some drying time. So the hull here, the deck of the kayak is a kind of fabric. It's lined with PVC, so it's waterproof, and it's treated with water repellent. So the water generally beads and rolls off. You will need to repeat the water repellent every couple of years, something like that, depending on usage. However, you will still get a little bit of wetness, especially around here on the deck. In terms of dry time, for me, I'm in Queensland, usually go out when it's pretty good conditions. And so, by the time I return phone calls and have a snack and take off my jacket, etc., I'm good to put it straight in the bag. If it's very wet and it's kind of wet outside, you'll have to bring it home, open it up to dry. Now, the really important thing, so sometimes you see online people complaining about dry time. It's usually because they're getting water inside the kayak and the inner tube covers are getting wet. You need to pull out the floor, wipe out the inside, and you need to prop it open to dry. But that kind of shouldn't be happening. Now, if you're taking kids and dogs and wet dogs are jumping in, of course you're going to get water inside. However, I can't remember the last time I got water inside this just going for a paddle. So if water's coming inside, get in touch with us. I always put a towel in where my feet are to kind of get the wetness from my feet, if that makes sense. But if you're getting water inside, give us a call. We need to troubleshoot what's going on there. I love this. Incredibly easy to set up, surprisingly comfortable. The seat is very, very good in this one. Paddle smoothly and stable, and you feel very secure in it. Some of you are going to be looking at that Sport Elite. I told you to go and get that one if you don't want to put a spray skirt on. In terms of the difference, you can see the cockpit size is much bigger on the Sport Elite. There's no zipper, but it's so wide open, you kind of don't need one. However, it means you cannot put the spray skirt on. It is lighter though, 12 kilograms versus 13.5. So if you're kind of looking at those ones and wondering what to do and what to choose, the key point is going to be the ability to put the spray skirt on. That's your decision point. They both have the same kind of ripstop polyester decking material. They both have the triple layer PVC tarpaulin hull. These hulls are very robust. They both have the multi-layer construction. So what that means is there's an outer shell, then there's an inner tube cover, and then there's an inner tube. So people sometimes will ask about punctures. Punctures are not a thing with this kayak. We sometimes get customers that overinflate their inner tube and they damage the seam, and then they need a replacement inner tube. That's the beauty of this kayak. You can unzip everything and just replace parts. However, that almost always happens due to either them misreading the instructions on pressure or heat. So when you're in the water's keeping the chambers cool, totally fine. As soon as you take the kayak out of the water, if you're not packing up straight away, you need to let some pressure off, and you need to keep it out of full sun. If you do that, you'll be totally fine. You'll get years and years and years out of this kayak. They both have the drop stitch floor. The AdvancedFrame Elite and the AdvancedFrame Sport Elite both have the drop stitch floor. The other difference, other than that cockpit, is the number of air chambers. So the AdvancedFrame Elite, being an open water kayak, has 2 air chambers. These air chambers have different valves. They're separate air. However, the wall between them is flexible PVC, so the pressure equalizes across the both of them. That's why they say inflate, just fill chamber 1. Don't pressurize it, just fill it of air so that it's still very, very soft. And then when you pressurize chamber 2, it pushes back onto chamber 1, and they both end up being 2 psi. The Sport, the AdvancedFrame Sport, just has 1 chamber, so it's a bit of a simpler setup. 136 kilogram capacity. So because of this, right, you have a high, that for some engineering reason that I don't understand, you have a higher capacity with the AdvancedFrame Elite, 136, and more deck space. So it's better than the Sport Elite for expeditions, which has 113 capacity and a little bit less deck space because it's got an oversized cockpit. You may also see the AdvancedFrame floating around on the market, this beautiful red one, and we still have lots of pictures of this in all of our material. This is a fantastic kayak. We sold it for 17 years. The same model, just amazing design. The AdvancedFrame Elite is the better version of this, right? It's the upgraded version. So if you see it floating around online somewhere, it might be pretty cheap. That's because it's old and it's superseded. The key differences are the floor. I don't know if I put this in. Oh, the backpack straps. So the AdvancedFrame Elite does not have the straps on the backpack. It also does not have the lumbar seat or the raised bum pad. It's just got a regular seat. And you can see the floor there is I-beam. It's a soft floor. Very comfortable, very cushy. However, you sit much lower in this kayak and you don't have the same rigidity. It maxes out this one at about 90 kilograms of paddler weight versus 110 for the AdvancedFrame Elite. So just if you see that one, that's the difference. Comfortable and stable. So fantastic kayak. Like I said, it is comfy, it's stable, it's rigid, it goes fast and straight. You can put a spray skirt on, you can do expeditions, quick to set up though for a quick hour. Absolutely love this kayak. We sold it for years as the Flying Solo bundle. So when we just had the AdvancedFrame, we used to package it up with a drop stitch floor and the better seat. Easy to set up, perfect for a beginner. So super easy, but you can still see how there's all of this spray coming up on the deck and he's able to take it out in open water. So yeah, huge fan. Like I said, the most versatile portable kayak on the market. If you have any questions about the AdvancedFrame Elite, please get in touch. This is Emily at Oz Inflatable Kayaks.